Welcome to my life as I live it. I'm Army Princess, the mother, wife, and soldier, and I want to share this journey with you. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe now so you don't miss a moment of it. Hey everybody, it's Army Princess and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Marriage in the Military. So we got a juicy one for y'all. Juicy.
You so dramatic.
Juicy. It is juicy. Because a lot of my subscribers are young subscribers, new to the military, and they are going to basic and AIT either soon, or they just came from basic and AIT and they're going to their first duty station really soon, and they need to know the T.
Well, for them, yeah, they need it.
The T. So this is the T for y'all.
Y'all need to turn the volume up on high.
All the way up, real high. Right now, turn it up. So let's talk about getting the lusty eyes in basic training.
That was so...
What you want to call it?
I don't know.
Being thirsty in basic training.
They call it basic and AIT. They call it AIT marriages. You never heard that?
No, I never heard that.
Yeah.
But when you get to basic training, you of course are away from family and friends, and you're around people in your platoon every day for 8 weeks or however long basic training is, and you start to get feelings for people sometimes. I don't think it ever happened to me in basic training. I didn't like anybody in my basic training.
It doesn't happen that often in basic training, I don't think. I don't know. But I think it happens more often in AIT.
In AIT. So AIT is after basic training, and it's where you go to learn your job. But the difference with basic and AIT is, in AIT you have more freedom. So more freedom means more problems that can happen.
AIT stands for Advanced Individual Training. So that's where you go learn your job after you get the basic training. But one thing to understand when you go to basic training in AIT, and this also goes for deployments also, and what's called short tours in Korea, like for a year. Not so much Korea, but deployments and AIT and basic training. You are in a bubble. So you are you're isolated from the outside world. In basic training, you're heavily isolated from the outside world because all you do is do what the drill sergeant says. You eat, sleep, drink, and train. That's all you do. You don't really have much free time. You may have some quiet time or whatever they have in the barracks now, but you don't have much free time. In advanced individual training, like Ashley said, or Army Princess, whatever you go.
That's fine, you can say it. Like
Army Princess said. In AIT, like Army Princess said, you get more free time. You may even get your weekends off. So you spend all your time with a small group of people, maybe 50 to 100, maybe 150 people, depending on how big it is, depending on how big your training is. And you spend more than 40 hours a week. I mean, 40 hours a week is a work week. But in advanced individual training, you will wake up and you will do physical training. You'll go to class for about 8 hours, and then you'll go eat with them. And then you live in the same barracks with them. So you're literally spending
all your time with them.
Yeah, that's 8 hours minus 24 hours is 18 hours, or 16, sorry. So 24 minus 8 hours is 16 hours. So other than sleep, you're spending almost 16 hours a day with these people. So I don't know what the psychology is, I'm not that smart, but it's natural to start gelling with someone and spending 16 hours a day with someone for 6, 8, 9, 20, 25 weeks, with some advanced individual training is a long time. You spend 16 hours a day with someone, you're going to start gelling with them and liking them. Want to add something?
You just start developing feelings for them, especially, like, I wouldn't say AIT is as stressful as basic training, but it's still kind of a stressful environment. And so when you kind of going through the same things with people, you kind of lean towards them and they become your support system. So naturally you develop feelings. It doesn't, usually in the beginning it's just like a friendship, but it could blossom into something else. And so I see a lot of times that people develop these relationships in basic and AIT, and they feel like they love this person or really like this person, and then they end up getting married, and either they do go to their first duty station together, or sometimes they go to different duty stations together, and then they realize that maybe that person wasn't really the person for them. Some people just get to where they going and see that there's way more fish in the sea, and then they end up feeling like they made a mistake. People end up getting divorces. So just for people who are,
so it's important so there's nothing wrong with, we took a long time in explaining that you're going to gel with someone because you're like in a microcosm of the world. You're in a bubble. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just important to know that that's what's happening. And then it's important to understand that once you complete Advanced Individual Training or AIT, you're going to get orders and you're going to go to what's quote unquote the outside world. You're going to go to your duty station, your first duty station, anywhere in the world. It could be anywhere from Germany to Japan to anywhere in the United States, to Alaska, Hawaii, anywhere. And then you're going to be on your own. You're going to go back to going to work 8 hours a day, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and then you have 12 hours of free time where you necessarily don't have to spend it with that small group of people. You won't spend it with a small group of people. You won't spend it with just that person you're dating. You can choose to spend it wherever you want. And then the weekends will be on your own too. So now you're starting to see that other fish in the sea. And so if your relationship hasn't stood the test of time of other fish in the sea, then that's where you're going to run into tough times. Or if you don't understand that you're not living in the real world in AIT. It's not real world. The Army is gradually exposing you back, is gradually releasing you back into mainstream society after going to basic training. So if you get married under the auspice of not the real world, and then you go out into the real world, you're going to face some challenges. And that's the same thing with deployments. Deployments are almost like AIT, except...
And real quick. I've never deployed, but he's deployed several times. So, of course, he's a subject matter expert on deployments and relationships in deployment. But I will say that our first year of marriage, we were separated. He was deployed the first year of our marriage. And it stood the test of time.
It did? You're so silly. It did. So I've been deployed 3 times. Well, the third one really doesn't count. But 3 times. I've been away from my family for three times. First deployment was before I was married. Second deployment, we were married. And the third deployment, we were married. So when we talk about deployments are a little bit... I don't know, more difficult than AIT, but they pose different challenges because you have freedoms, but you're in a real confined space. Your camp, your base, wherever you're at, but wherever you're stationed. However, you're spending a lot of time with the people you work with because you're away from your family and your friends and everything else. So you kind of start gelling with them.
So it's kind of like AIT a little bit still. It
is. And it's a mix between AIT and basic because deployments bring that basic training type of stress because you're working 10, 12-hour days and you're away from your family, and if you're in a combat zone, I mean, it's the reality, you could die. And it's bringing that AIT type of freedom because after work you can go to the gym or you can go wherever you work out.
Somebody's room.
Or somebody's room, which you're not allowed. General order number 1, you're not allowed to have sex in a deployed environment.
Why?
Because it's the general order number 1. That's what the Army says. I don't ask them why. That's what they said. You can't drink.
Well, I can see why you can't drink because you don't want to be intoxicated, but like sex is not going to keep you from doing your job tomorrow morning.
They might want people to be focused. Not focused on that. But like we were saying, deployments, a lot of people get together deployments, and again, I'm not saying I've seen people get together deployments. What have I? I was gonna say I've seen people get together and be successful. I've seen people get together and not be successful. But I don't know if I've seen it successful. But I'm sure it's happened. But what I will say is just be cognizant of the situation you're in, and then that'll help you and your, partner, the person you're with, be able to face the challenges that will come up. It's not a may come up. Once you redeploy or come back to the United States, you will face some challenges. Once you go to your first duty station after AIT, you will face some challenges.
I feel like redeployment is harder almost.
Oh yeah. Oh, redeployment is
very hard. So for the people who don't know, redeployment is when you come back from a deployment, and it's hard because you gotta get adjusted back to like your life before you left.
Yes, and the people. So redeployment, well, at least from a person who's deployed before, I'm gonna put it like this: when you let's say today, January, was it 6th? January 6th, I deployed 2018 for a year. Redeployment is almost like putting your life on pause when you get back January 6th, 2019, but everyone else's life was just still going. So there's no way, it's very difficult for you to catch up to what everybody else is doing. And you're just coming in and you just feel like you're an outsider, it's the same house, but it's gonna feel different. Redeployment is very difficult, but you can get through it. Redeployment for families are difficult too, because you were gone and now they've been cooking, cleaning, they've been doing all the daily duties, going to soccer practice, going to ballet, doing everything without you. And it may seem like it's easy now because you can just jump in, but they have their routine and now you kind of have to, redeploy back into that routine, kind of slowly reintegrate. That's what they call it, reintegration back into that routine. So you got to move slow, you got to communicate, and you have to understand that it's a challenge and talk through it. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and work through it together. But understand it's hard for both parties. It's not easy for the family. It's not easy for the soldier.
And if you want us to do a video, because we kind of got our subject too,
we did, yeah.
A video on dealing with deployments, then just make sure you leave a comment below or hit the thumbs up, and we would know that you want to see that video. But mostly we wanted to talk about just being careful when you get to basic, when you get to AIT, if you deploy, if you go TDY. The grass may not be greener on the other side as you may think it is.
But you're not going to think it is, but then you're going to think it is, and then you're going to mess up your relationship.
Yes. And if you're already in a relationship, if you're already married or dating somebody, then that should be the focus.
But if you're dating someone, then there's no rush. I will say one thing that I've told friends before that I try to live by is if it's worth it, it's worth waiting for, and it's worth working towards. But it's not a rush. I mean, if you feel like you need to marry him or her before someone else gets them, then you need to work through some other things beforehand. Just being honest, if you feel like because you got orders somewhere else, you need to marry because it's not gonna work, I mean that's a viable concern. Don't get me wrong, but hey, that is, you don't want to rush into something and then ruin 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your life because you felt you had to do it, for a reason. Just take your time and go through it. And relationships from AIT may work. Relationships from deployment may work, but just make sure you get back into the real world and at least give it a little time. We're not the prime example for giving it time. We're kind of the pot calling the kettle black.
What do you mean giving what time?
Because we met in February and got married in October. But we've had challenges to that, but we made it.
And we made it work.
Yeah, we did. But we didn't meet on deployment AIT either. She lucky she didn't meet me in AIT, Wow. She just asked me, oh yeah, we had parties, yeah. But I mean, hey, we were safe. And we stayed within the rules. When you go to AIT, don't break the rules, man. You're just going to start your career off on a bad foot. I know we're talking about relationships, but when you get to different phases, you can do different things. Just wait. I'm telling you, because you're going to try to do some stuff that you
shouldn't be doing, ain't got no business doing.
You're trying to sneak off
Don't
posts.
do it. I snuck off. But I wouldn't advise. I was gonna say I wouldn't advise anybody to do it.
Cause then you're gonna be allowed to go in like a week or two. You know what I mean? Just wait. I mean, the same thing's gonna happen. The same thing happens every Friday and Saturday, y'all. Is the club is open, the bar is open. It's the same thing. It's just different people. The party's gonna pop the same way. But anyway,
we're gonna wrap it up here, and we will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Choose. Is that how you do it?
Choose? What's it? What are you doing?
I don't know.